So in today's video, I want to talk about some of my favorite books and podcasts that have helped me in my spiritual and healing journey. I will list a link to them in the description as well. Starting from the beginning is the Happiness Lab podcast with Laurie Santos. It was the spark and the pivot to change for me. It was recommended by my best friend, and I would listen to it every morning while getting ready for work. In one specific episode, it talked about affirmations and gratitude. And even though I had heard how good these things were before, it felt very whimsical and woo-woo, which I was not into at the time. And I wanted something that was rooted in science and data. Funny enough, through another episode in that podcast, it taught me to have a healthy dose of delusion, and that was still science. This podcast encouraged me to keep a journal, to speak positive affirmations to myself, and to write out my gratitude. And those things pulled me out of a deep depression and planted the seed that I could change my life. There are so many good episodes in this podcast, and I encourage you to check them out. Keeping on track with early influences was my favorite book, The Silva Mind Control Method by Jose Silva. Now, when I first read this book, I was super skeptical. I didn't want to learn how to read minds, and again, was not into the woo-woo nonsense. But this book is actually about controlling your own mind, and it expanded my world and confirmed so much of what I had already felt to be true. Probably built the most self-trust of any books that I have read, as it connected all of my intuition that I had felt my whole life. And I won't spoil the magic, but I highly suggest that you give this method a try. It will either blow your mind or confirm what other spiritual books have been practicing for centuries. Now, on to more self-help book material is Atomic Habits by James Clear. I believe this is a must for anyone just starting on their healing journey or when you want to change your life. We are our habits, and understanding how we make and break habits is one of the best tools you can have to make real progress in your evolution. He gives step by step, and he gives real strategies, and it never felt like homework. Another self-help essential is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. His way of personifying the ego and the pain body really helped me understand how they have a hold on me and ways to navigate them. I reference this book often when I'm processing emotions and working through hard feelings, and it also helped me to zoom out, which really helps me stop time and get out of my own head. This technique helps ground me and be present when I feel overwhelmed. Kind of on that same note as being present is the next book that I really admire, called The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest. In this book, I felt the roller coaster of shame and guilt for causing my own discomfort, and then empowerment that I could change it all. To realize how you get into your own way, but also how empowering it is to have that control. She writes it very beautifully, as in most of her books. The last spiritual book, one by Don Miguel Ruiz, called The Four Agreements. Now, this one is probably the most out there for people who are not into the woo-woo, but this book again confirms so much of what I had felt before I ever heard anyone else talk about it. The connection between earth and God and energy is so unique, and I think this is most people's introduction to spirituality, and because of that, it is a classic. Most spiritual books I take bits and pieces from, or I don't resonate with all the way, but this book was and is the closest I have come to that alignment. Another book I felt aligned with was one that I was not expecting, called Sissa and Goldman by Hermann Hesse. Early in my healing journey, I had a lot of anxiety about trying anything new and the fear of making mistakes and not having a certain future. That lack of control kept me frozen, and I felt that I lacked a lot of healthy experiences because of it. But experiencing Goldman's path gave me confidence to even try when I didn't know the outcome, and to have those new experiences, and I built trust and confidence in myself and learned that the path and the journey is the whole point, not the ending. The next one is also surprising of how much I related to it. It's by Rener Gracie, called The 32 Principles. For those who don't know, Rener and Hedon are the brothers who started the Gracie University, which is the jiu-jitsu school that I trained at. I actually started reading this book before I trained, and then I would read it in the lobby of the school almost every day. The reason I love this book is because the translation from the mat to life was so seamless. As I mentioned, jujitsu was instrumental in my healing, and I embody these principles off the mat and outside of class because it was just more tools to connect what resonated with me. The last book is a fun one, not because the story is just so amazing or super life-changing, but in one very specific way. Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. It was the first book, probably since Harry Potter, that I had just read for fun. Not to heal some broken part of me or try to understand a bigger universal mystery, but for pure enjoyment, to allow myself to waste time and to not be productive, which felt wrong. My nervous system is a mess of CPTSD, and relaxing just wasn't something that I was comfortable with. Even post-divorce and living alone, I struggled with rest and allowing myself to do something that had no other high agenda other than, just relaxing without feeling any shame. And the series became my routine. I would make popcorn and listen to it while I worked on a puzzle almost every night and most weekends. It's a little spicy, but that just adds to the fun. The last item on my list is my most favorite podcast called Do You Fucking Mind by Alexis Fernandez. This woman is amazing. She has such a way of calling you out, but also holding space for you like a sister. And the empowerment that I feel during her episodes is so great that I have to be strategic when I listen. Otherwise, I will be so inspired that I will stay up all night or cancel my plan that day to hyperfixate on whatever topic it was that week. Her content got me through so many work days when I worked full-time cleaning vacation rentals, and I would get lost in the playlist that 4 to 6 hours of constant cardio would just fly by, and it's mostly rooted in science. I would love to do a part 2 later in life to see what other books and content have helped me evolve, and I would also love your suggestions on books and podcasts, so please comment your favorite below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next one.